Today on Rappler, President Aquino certifies the reproductive health bill urgent. Senator-Santiago calls President Aquino her hero and says he has slain the monster. And the company of businessman Kazuo Okada sues former business partner Steve Wynn for internet libel in Manila. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. President Benigno Aquino gives the reproductive health bill another boost by certifying it urgent Thursday. Aquino says he wants the bill passed before Christmas. He adds, quote, "I'd like to put an end to this divisive issue before we start the new year." The House of Representatives passes the bill on second reading early Thursday. Aquino's move allows Congress to pass the bill on third and final reading as early as December 17th. The Senate is scheduled to vote on the bill on second reading Monday. If it succeeds, the President's certification allows the Senate to immediately vote on the measure on final reading. Despite Aquino's declaration of support for the bill, he hesitated to certify it urgent. Earlier this week, Aquino's Liberal Party issued a statement saying the LP leadership wants the bill passed. Despite this, 26 LP members in the House voted no to the bill on second reading. Senator Miriam Santiago welcomes President Aquino's move on the RH bill. She praises the president's support for the controversial measure. In a statement Friday, Santiago says, quote, "President Aquino is my hero. He has cut the Gordian knot. This is manifest proof of executive leadership." Santiago adds, President Aquino rose to meet the challenge and he has slain the monster. With the RH bill certified urgent, Santiago says both houses of Congress can ratify a bicameral conference committee report on the bill before going on Christmas break. But not all senators are happy about Aquino's move. Senate Majority Leader Tito Sotto expresses his disappointment, saying, quote, "Poor Philippines." He asks, why certify as urgent the bill dividing the country? Why not FOI? Sotto plans to introduce 25 amendments to the RH bill before the vote on second reading on Monday. The company of Japanese billionaire Kazuo Okada files an internet libel case in Manila against former business partner Steve Wynn. The Okada-led Universal Entertainment Corporation files a criminal complaint against Wynn for, quote, maliciously leaking to the press a report adversarial to Okada. The group says internet libel may be prosecuted and cites the Justice Department's primer on the cybercrime law. The group also cites a press release posted by Wynn Resorts based on an investigation report by former FBI Chief Louis Freeh. The Freeh report traced the alleged illicit payments the Okada Group gave officials of casino regulator Philippine Gaming Corporation for incentives regarding Okada's Manila casino venture. Ernest Bower from the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, D.C. says he believes the Philippines can sustain its surging economy. He talks about President Aquino's efforts to clamp down on corruption and how it's contributing to increasing investor confidence.
I think he's laid out he's done well in communicating that he's serious about governance, and I think this still hasn't been communicated well to the world. So I think this could be sustained. Really, it's a question about governance, though.
Yes.
Is the president going to be able to carry this, or is it sort of a short-term burst of, fighting corruption, and is it a quick pump in the arm? It feels real to me, but we'll see.
Bower also praises the Philippines' stand in the territorial disputes in the South China Sea. CSIS calls that one of the world's hotspots. He lauds Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario for calling out China's aggressiveness.
It's hard to understand why the Chinese are being so aggressive. Mm-hmm. It's undercutting their own interests, long-term interests in Southeast Asia. I really do feel like the Philippines standing up and sort of calling them on it and saying, look, we want to be friends, we want to do business with China, but look, you can't play the game this way. This level of aggression is not going to be acceptable to anybody in Asia. And
The iPhone 5 is in the Philippines. In separate launch events in the early morning of December 14th, both Globe and Smart welcome what Apple calls, quote, the biggest thing to happen to the iPhone since the iPhone. Catherine Visconti reports.
In Plaza Newport Mall to get an iPhone 5 with Smart.
Globe and Smart face off again. They throw launch parties for the iPhone 5 on the same night. The events are low-key. Both say it's not the party, but the sales that matter.
What we wanted to do this year is to make it a big event, but we want people to buy the iPhone 5. Last year it was more the event than the sales.
Since Smart started carrying the iPhone last year, rivalry has been fierce.
Very, very intense competition, and that means benefit for customers.
Both brands want to appeal to postpaid consumers, a small but affluent demographic.
So 95% is prepaid, yet that 5% of our SIMs generated 32% of our total mobile revenues. That's a staggering difference between postpaid and prepaid.
Globe is traditionally strong with postpaid users and wants to keep them. At the launch, Globe rewarded longtime consumers with giveaways, handing out its first iPhone 5 to a postpaid user who had his plan for 18 years.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I picked it, you're taking me, Paolo.
I've never had a problem to drive me away from the Globe service.
At the same time, Smart is luring in consumers with slightly lower priced iPhone 5s and will continue the assault with inexpensive Android devices.
So for a market like ours, I think Android will still occupy a very prominent place. The iOS platform tends to be available on higher price levels. But the nice thing is that Smart is active in all of those areas.
The Philippines has the fastest smartphone growth in Southeast Asia. With the two top brands busy slugging it out, there seems to be only one clear winner, the consumer. Catherine Visconti, Rappler, Manila.
Well, China resists U.S.-led pressure to condemn its ally, North Korea, for launching a long-range rocket Wednesday. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Hong Lei says China, quote, regrets the rocket launch. But he says China believes any UN response should be prudent, conducive to peace and stability on the Korean peninsula, and avoid the escalation of the situation. North Korea says it placed the satellite in orbit for peaceful research. Washington, though, warns Pyongyang must face consequences for violating UN resolutions by firing the rocket. Police say Australian radio host who made a prank call to a London hospital treating Prince William's pregnant wife, Catherine, received death threats after the nurse who answered their call killed herself. Police launch a probe after a letter targeting presenter Michael Christian is seized, warning him there are, quote, bullets out there with your name on it. The Telegraph reports about a dozen staff members are moved to hotels for their safety, and up to 10 executives have been assigned bodyguards. U.S. envoy to the United Nations Susan Rice declines President Obama's possible appointment as the next U.S. Secretary of State. The Republicans criticized her behavior after the raid on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya. Rice said the September 11 attack, which killed the U.S. ambassador to Libya, was, quote, a spontaneous reaction to an anti-Muslim video. Extremists linked to Al-Qaeda are now blamed for the raid. Republicans say the White House misled the U.S. public because it didn't admit a terror attack weeks before the presidential election. This claim, of course, is being challenged now. In a letter to Obama, Rice says, quote, if nominated, I'm now convinced that the confirmation process would be lengthy, disruptive, and costly. Obama accepts her decision Thursday. Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 3, in a landmark judgment, the European Court of Human Rights says the CIA tortured a German citizen linked to terrorists, sodomizing and beating him. The Guardian reports the court also finds the Macedonian police guilty of abusing Khaled al-Masri, a German of Lebanese origin who's suspected of having links with terrorist organizations. The newspaper says, quote, it is the first time the court has described CIA treatment meted out to terror suspects as torture. Masri was arrested in Macedonia in December 2003 and transferred to the custody of the CIA, who flew him secretly to Afghanistan. At number 6, saying, quote, it's only a matter of time, NATO's Secretary General Anders Fogh Rasmussen predicts the Assad regime is, quote, approaching collapse, according to CNN. Opposition groups in Syria earlier said it captured a military base near the capital, Damascus. Rasmussen's remarks come days after President Barack Obama officially recognized this Syria's rebel coalition. The regime is not backing down as U.S. officials accuse it of firing ballistic missiles at rebel camps. On December 13th, at least 24 civilians, including a large number of children, are killed in 2 separate car bombings southwest of Damascus. At number 8, the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines asks Manny Pacquiao to take action against his aides who reportedly assaulted Getty Images photographer Al Bello when he was trying to take photos of Pacquiao in his fight against Juan Manuel Marquez. The NUJP says Pacquiao's trainer Buboy Fernandez and his advisor Michael Conks were angered by Bello's attempts to take photos of Pacquiao knocked out on the canvas. Photos from Yahoo Sports show Conks grabbing Bello by the shirt and Fernandez going after him at ringside. Bello says the pair punched and kicked him. The NUJP says Bello was, quote, merely performing his obligations as a photojournalist and had every right to take pictures of the fallen Pacquiao. And at number 10, Steven Spielberg's presidential drama Lincoln tops the Golden Globes nominations in 7 categories, followed by Argo and Django Unchained with 5 each. Spielberg hopes to fare better with Lincoln than he did with last year's epic War Horse, which was nominated for 6 Oscars and 2 Globes but went home empty-handed. The Golden Globe Awards will be announced in January. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. As you know, every story on Rappler has a mood meter which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have gotten the most clicks on the mood meter, the most votes on it. If you take a look today, 8 out of the 10 stories all have to do with the RH bill. So that's taking center stage. Today's main story, President Aquino certifies the RH bill urgent, 9% angry, 2% inspired, a whopping 86% happy. You have Miriam on RH, Aquino slew the monsters, Soto, poor Philippines. 13% amused, 5% afraid, 3% annoyed, 3% angry, and there you go, 76% happy. The happy have it today. Most people are happy. Today is the last day of Rappler live streaming 10 short stories on 10 human rights issues. That's Alab 2012 Stories of Truth in Projections. We've been showing 2 short stories every day after the Rappler Newscast. Enjoy the last 2 we have for you today. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Friday, December 14th, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today. We leave you with images of the University of the Philippines Lantern Parade.